Today's guest is Mick Miller, known as a comedian's comedian. For me, he's a comedian's ventriloquist's comedian, and one of the original comics from Johnny Hamp's perfect idea of grouping together many of the UK's finest stand-ups at that time. He may not remember this, but I first worked with Mick at the Queen's Hotel in Blackpool when I was 20 years old. Before I had an act that would suit that sort of audience, I did struggle big time. It was New Year's Eve, 1995, at Christmas, and well, obviously New Year's Eve is around Christmas time, so you can judge really where New Year's Eve... It's at the end of the year. So it's the end of 1995... into 1996, because that's how it works. And I was working at Blackpool Tower in the daytime doing kids shows and had all my evenings off to watch all the shows around town and enjoy the likes of Ken Dodd, Joe Pasquale and Alan Stewart, the Grumbleweeds, Frank Carson, Norman Collier, Andy Ford had his own show on the Central Pier, Chubby Brown was on the North Pier, Joe Longthorne appeared all over town, Keith and Orville made appearances. I also popped into some clubs like Talk of the Town, which was always buzzing, and the Leighton Institute. It was also, I actually got to see Mike Dennett and Chick, one of the great ventriloquists around Blackpool. I just loved it. I just loved the atmosphere of the Blackpool when it was still in a good place, really. It's also the year I got to know Keith Harris and the year he gave me Ponga the Skunk. That's a puppet, not an illegal substance. I specifically remember a charity night in a nightclub which held an auction. Joe Pasquale, Andy Pryor, the big band leader, Roy Walker, Duncan Norvell, Little and Large, Les Dennis, Alan Stewart, Alex Hurricane Higgins, believe it or not. The whole of Blackpool was there that night and it was buzzing. I was just there as a potato with glasses on. There was still a variety vibe in the town, yet there were still stag parties and hen dos all over, but the theatres were still packed. I entered some talent shows when I was there, and was slightly worried about Robin Duke sat in the front as a judge. He was the Gary Bushell or the Simon Cowell reviewer of the day. But despite this, I remember doing that. Robin gave me a fab review and I won that night.
Ice and Teeth.
The nights in the Dutchman on the seafront were fun. Acts from the business hung out there. One night I was in West Coast Rock Cafe after watching Darren Day and Isla Fisher in Summer Holiday at the Opera House. But in the Winter Gardens, there was a live band on next door causing some hype. I had my late dinner, walked out, saying hi to Darren and Isla on the way out. The next day, the band from the Winter Gardens apparently spent their after-show party in West Coast Rock Cafe. And I later learned that it was Oasis. Never heard of them. Blackpool gave me a great season, though. I worked at the Hornpipe Galley with children's entertainers Trevor Cook and Harvey Seeger. Harvey's a legend, still working Blackpool and very well known. I would come back in the evenings, though, to see Fungus the Bogeyman, a great comedy duo. And then you see Triple X, who would do loads of Take That songs, and they were fantastic. They do a lot of Wet, 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 and brilliant night of entertainment. I'd go there 2 or 3 nights a week just to watch them work. Then we'd hang out. Matthew Davidge was the host. I met some great characters in Blackpool. So Mick Miller and I had the pleasure of working together on cruises, quite a lot of cruises. I saw him quite a few times actually, but the last one was on his birthday and we had a dreadful overnight at an airport. I'll let him tell you that. This is my chat with Mick Miller.
Hello, Steve.
Hiya Mick, how are you?
I'm fine.
You alright, boss? You're playing tennis?
Yeah, lovely.
Are you in sunny Liverpool?
No, Blackpool.
Of course you live in Blackpool, don't you? I knew you had a pool in the back. How's things going? How you doing, mate?
All right, not too bad. Can't wait to get back to work, but
yeah,
we're all in the same boat, aren't we?
Yeah, I wish we were. I wish we were in that boat. That's the last place I saw you, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, we were on Fred Olsen, weren't we?
Yes. Yeah, it was a Fred Olsen. Blimey. Happy days.
When it was my birthday, when we had that meat pie in Cape Verde.
Was it Cape Verde? I was trying to remember where that was, but we were singing Happy Birthday to the sound of the saxophone or the trumpet about 2 o'clock in the morning, wasn't it?
That was it, because they wouldn't put us in a hotel, so they made us just wait in that bloody horrible airport room, didn't they?
Yeah, it was awful. It was, but it wasn't, because we made your birthday worth it.
Oh, that was it. Yeah.
You're what's known as a comedian's comedian. Can you explain, or are you too modest to say? Because you are a comedian's comedian, and I know.
I am too modest to say. I don't know what it means. I don't know what it means, really. I think that it means they like what you do.
Yeah. Comedians look up to you, and comedy acts, in this business. When we talk about you, it's all with fond admiration, and I think that's why they call it a comedian's comedian. It's like Bob Monkhouse's one of those, and
yeah, it's a great compliment. It's a great compliment. Yeah, but I love all types of comedy. I do. I like so many different genres of comedy, really, from the likes of yourself to jugglers.
Yeah, comedy magicians. I suppose it comes in all different forms, doesn't it?
I just love watching talent, and I've luckily to work with a lot,
Yeah, it's a blessing really in this job, isn't it? You get to sit back and watch what's on before you or after you, or in your case, before you.
And it's always great to work with,
fellow pros.
The people you get on as well with socially. It's great when it's like a little holiday, isn't it? I mean, when we did that, Fred Olsen, when your puppets didn't arrive.
Yes, I always remember that bit.
I was, you were doing a rehearsal with the microphone and just using your two hands. And I looked over the side of the ship and I saw all our baggage.
Yeah.
And I legged it in and shouted, "The dolls are here."
Blimey, that's like having my kids being kidnapped for a week, and then you finally see your kids again. And but no, and I was on that night and I actually rehearsed. And we had an hour before the ship left, I think. It was either a matter of do it with the hands for an hour or wait for that luggage to arrive, And luckily it made it in time, which was always had you on edge, didn't it? I mean,
it's like the same. I mean, with you, with the
props.
With the dolls, it's like the jugglers, and they always say, some people don't understand, and they say, well, can't you get some apples and oranges?
Just make some eyes. Yeah, a little talking jacket potato. Yeah, I suppose you could. I mean, there was a ventriloquist once called, he was called Harry Bennett, and he actually went, I don't know if you worked with Harry, but he went to a gig, and he lost his doll. The doll disappeared in transit, and he ended up just grabbing an empty bottle, or a bottle of beer from the bar. He emptied it himself by drinking it. He walked on stage, and he went and done 45 minutes just with things surrounded by him, And I guess that's why I came up with a line on the ship with a napkin. I was sat down having lunch with Paul Emmanuel, and we ordered pizza, and we were so bored. I mean, I had no luggage. I remember on that cruise as well, and it happened a lot. And I picked up the napkin and just started singing with it and called it Napkin Co. And it became quite a piece of my act for a few years,
Yeah, didn't you do that with it? Turn it into a baby. Well,
I did later on. Yeah, I added the baby routine, just a bigger napkin.
I'll have to send you. I go to the magicians' conference every year, to meet up with all the gang and.
Okay, in Blackpool, yeah.
Yeah, and I met this American guy, and he didn't have a stall, but he had his bag with him, and he was selling these things, and I got two of them, and one's a £5 note, and one's a $100 bill. But the Queen talks. There's a thing at the back.
Oh wow!
And the $100 talks.
That's fab.
I'll send you a photo of him. I've got it. Yeah, it's So
that's brilliant. A brilliant idea.
I've never seen them before. They're very well made. But I'll send you a picture.
I'm already writing a routine, and it would start with a Neil Diamond. Money talks.
Yeah,
it don't sing a dance.
I thought with the $100 bill, I don't know who's on it, but I was thinking you say, if you touch my statue, I'll rip your neck off.
Yeah, well, you need to update the material on it. That's good. Yeah. So I'd probably spend it before. I mean, we always spending thousands on props, so to use $100 bill, a talking one would work.
Well, you'd have to do it on, with just people around the table. It wouldn't work on stage.
No. Close-up ventriloquism.
Did you ever do the sloth?
Do you know what? I bought a sloth because of you. It's another character that sat next to all the other characters I still need to get onto stage. But when I can only use it in theatres, unless I go back on the ships and they ask for another 10, 45 minutes, then I could whack it in, you know. But it's I did. When we got back from that cruise, I ordered a sloth puppet. And we got those ideas that we wrote together, which was great. The slow gin and all that. And I'm working on it, but I need to get a picture of it sent to you so you can have a little.
Is it cute?
It is really cute. Yeah, I mean, it looks like a real sloth, except it looks like a puppet as well. But it is cute. I mean, you saw it on those adverts, didn't you? A little sloth on those sofa adverts or something.
Yeah, it was Sophology.
That's it.
It's not on anymore. But that's where I saw it, and I thought it looks a great little character.
Yeah, well, I've got it now. I don't know what to do with it. It's actually ironically quite slow to put into the routine. I'm quite slow at writing the routine for it, but I'll get there in the end.
Well, if it talks very slow, you wouldn't have to do long.
I did do something on Facebook a few weeks ago where I introduced this brand new character, which was the sloth, and I said it's actually a sloth, which is creature that people love to see. Please welcome. I'm going to call it Mick. It's not got a name. I'm going to call it Mick. I want to name after you. And so I introduced it, and then I literally took so long to get it out of the box, like a minute, and then I introduced it and said, "Tell everyone your name." And then it was another minute. He turned his head to the audience, and then I kept that going. I said, "No, look at me when I'm talking to you." And then another minute, and he turned back to me. And then I literally spent 5 minutes. By the time he was about to open his mouth and say hello, I went, "I'll forget it." And I just done 5 minutes of nothing. But that's thanks to you that I've got that. And I didn't have to write anything. It was just visual, And I think that's what you were going for, really, weren't you?
And it takes 5 minutes to get him out the thing, and everyone's expecting, what is it? Because has it got like the claw hand?
Yes. It wraps round your neck.
And they're going to say, well, what's this coming out? And then if the cute thing, and then if it's got a really daft voice.
Yes. Which they never get to hear. Well, eventually they should, though. I should come up with a voice that's not too, what people won't be expecting. So you have to come up with something completely different. And I was expecting really to kind of give it a twist. I do the long build-up, and then he speaks really fast for the rest of the act, and so you could give it a twist at the end.
Yeah, good idea. Yeah.
Yeah, so I might do that. I'm still working on it, but it's a work in progress. Like,
how's Panto coming along?
I don't think it's coming along, is it? And I've not done Panto for about 4 or 5 years, Mick. But I've taken variety shows over that. Instead, I've done 2 years with the Osmonds, and then last year I hosted the Thursford Christmas show in Norfolk, and I had a year off, and I was planning to do Clacton this year, the Westcliff Theatre. That's just a variety show, and I was going to go back to Panto next year, 2021. So that's my plan. So I've had like 5 years away from Panto, but I don't think many Pantos are going to get back this year. I'm not too sure.
It's such a shame, isn't it?
Yeah, it's awful what's happened. Yeah, that our industry stopped for a year. Do you know when you go to university, you say I'm going to have a year out?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't go to university.
Most can't afford that in showbiz.
I know, but we have all unintentionally taken that year out. Which is a shame. So I want to talk about a couple of things about yourself, if you don't mind, because you're not a prop comic, but you do need a bottle and a glass when you do. The only prop you use really is for the Noddy routine, and it's quite iconic with you, isn't it?
I've put a new thing in now when I walk on, because they do a lot of these comedy clubs.
Yes.
I walk on now, and I've got my own mic stand, and it's got a clip on it, and I walk on, and I've got a baseball bat. And the opening line is, "I don't get on with hecklers."
That's beautiful.
I clip it to the mic stand.
That's a great opener, isn't it? I can imagine hecklers that were planning to heckle you that night just don't even flinch.
And then, of course, the Noddy, which is the gin bottle and the water, and it's been nobbled a few times for real gin over the years.
Really, is that the people that set up your props for a joke, or do you fill it up with?
Yeah. And of course, once you start it, you've got to finish it. So
Did you sometimes, when you realise it is real gin in there and they've set you up, do you sometimes slow the routine down and do it longer, or just add another part to it?
slow it, especially when you've got 2 shows. Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
That's I mean, I've done that for 19. I did it on New Faces in 1976. Would you believe?
Wow, that's brilliant.
76.
Yeah, that's
New Faces.
44 years ago. So that's an iconic routine with you, isn't it? Do you know, like when Cliff Richard would do a concert and they're at the end, they're going, "Oh, you haven't done Summer Holiday. You have to do Summer Holiday." When people see you'll just make them convulse with laughter anyway. But they do want to see you do Noddy, don't they? Even though they've seen it over and over.
Especially if there's on the ships.
Yes.
You've got your props table.
Yeah.
So it's there for the 45-minute set.
Yeah.
So,
they know it's coming.
He's going to do it. He's going to do it. Look, there's the bottle. So.
And you can't hide it. Yeah. Well, it's nice, that is. And you've also got trademark hair as well, and it.
It's just stuck like that over the years. I've got a big beard now. I've grown a beard for the first time in my life.
Wow.
I just wanted to experience shampooing my face.
How's it feel? Did you wish you'd done it earlier?
Because I've never ever been able to grow a beard. I've never had more than like a couple of weeks off.
Yeah, that's true. I like to grow a beard.
I've just let it grow now for 3 months, so it'll come off as soon as the first gig's in.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, so I've got a couple of Warners in.
And a couple of jobs as Santa.
Yeah.
You just need a hat.
Warners is coming in.
I've got some Warners in. They seem to be proactive, which is nice and confident. Yeah. So.
And they're doing it right because I'm doing 2 shows, so obviously.
Yes. Yeah, me too.
That'll work with the audience, really.
Yeah, and it's like being on the ships, isn't it? But I mean, they've got to sporadically spread them out and as well as the shows as well. I've got the same with Butlins, and so it's you spread them. Well, let's just keep our fingers crossed that they do go ahead. How important do you think your accent is to comedy? Because there's so many Liverpool comedians, great comedians.
I left Liverpool when I was like 16.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You've still got a hint of Liverpool accent, haven't you?
Yeah,
but you're Blackpool. You're Blackpool.
A lot of people think I'm from Manchester. But,
oh, okay. Really?
No, but it's just like a mix of Liverpool, Manchester, Blackpool, Lancashire, basically.
And Gibraltar.
Yeah.
Spent more time there, haven't we?
Yeah.
But you're. I'm not a football fan. I know nothing about football, but I know that you once were managed by Stanley Matthews himself, and I don't know football, but I know that was a big deal. So.
Yeah, I was signed by him when I was 16 from school in Liverpool, and he was in Stoke-on-Trent at Port Vale. He was the manager, so
wow.
I went to live down there.
Amazing.
So I lived there for 4 years.
Okay.
And I didn't make it. I was a goalkeeper, but I was a bit too small. 5'9" was not. You look at these goalkeepers now; they're all 6'7".
Yeah.
So I didn't make it, and I went on Pontins. Pontins, I started as a bluecoat, as a sports host.
Wow, blimey.
Down south, near you, at Camber Sands.
Oh, Camber, yeah. That's just near Eastbourne, just up the road.
Yeah.
I've done that. It's quite tough audiences down there, aren't they?
Not them days. No, them days. It was like.
They listened.
Pontin was around.
Oh, okay.
Pontin was around. Them days when I was there, and it was, you had to do the bingo, and you had to do something in the show, and so that was
brilliant.
Part of the thing that got me at it, really, because I was always a bit of a joker.
Yes.
So I worked there for like 4 seasons, and I worked on an act. And I got a bit of help from, do you remember Jimmy Jones?
I do, yeah. I supported Jimmy once, yeah. I wasn't the right support for him, but I loved working with him.
Jimmy gave me a lot of advice at the time. And
he's a good guy, Jimmy.
So then I started on the circuit then. I was doing all the army camps around the Salisbury area and
Andover, yeah.
And I was a bingo caller in Bournemouth.
Wow.
So I had 2 jobs. I had the gigs at night and then the bingo in the afternoon. So it worked out great.
So you're good with people then, 'cause you're obviously working with people a lot then as well. And did you
Oh, yeah,
did you
yeah.
see a lot of comedians when they come into Pontins? Did you watch the comics when they come and do their shows?
There wasn't many. It was show bands mainly. There was only like Jimmy Jones.
Yeah.
Jimmy Jones was the main one, and that was about it really.
And was Jimmy as blue as has he turned out to be, or
No,
not in
there,
Pontins? No.
No, because it was like a family room.
Oh, okay. I can't imagine that.
And Fred Ponton he'd just arrive sometimes, and like if he didn't like the act on stage, he'd walk up and say, "How much are you on? Pay you," and say, "Get off my camp."
Really? Wow.
Apparently there was a comic who was on stage, and Fred Ponton walked in the back of the room, with entourage.
Yeah. Wow.
And this comic said, "Oh, there's Fred. Fred Ponton just flew in off his wallet."
No. Oh,
and he walked
dear.
all right up to this microphone. "How much are you on for this?" And he said like 25 quid. So he got his wallet out, 25 quid. He went, "Now get off the stage and never come back here again."
Wow. And did you go back? No, that's a great story. I'd never heard that before. Blimey.
Well, so many of us started as, Bradley Walsh was a blue.
Yeah.
Brian Connolly.
Okay. A lot of them were red coats as well, weren't they? Like,
Dave Allen, Redcoat.
yeah. Like Freddie
Jimmy Tarbuck.
Freddie Starr. Is it?
No, Freddie wasn't. No, Freddie wasn't. He would never last. He'd be thrown out, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I guess thrown out of everywhere.
Roger de Courcy was a blue coat,
What was he really? Oh, was it Warner's,
He
wasn't it? Down in Warner's.
He won't admit it.
Do you know what? I think someone told me that the other day, actually. And Roger, I did talk to Roger, and he's not admitted that. So thanks for confirming.
Yeah, so it was great being a blue coat. Great grounding, and
Yeah.
it was just and great training. So then I was working the big clubs. Then after that 4 years, I was doing all the big
Working
cabaret
men's clubs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Cabarets as well. Because they had like
every-
Stardust, didn't they? In Leicester, Stardust, and Lakeside Country Club.
That was it. All them, yeah. Batley Variety Club.
Mm.
I did Batley Variety Club. I mean, some of the start. I did it with Chuck Berry. Would you believe?
Wow.
Yeah, I did 2 shows with Chuck Berry, a Sunday afternoon and a Sunday night.
That's incredible. 2 shows in one venue. That's incredible.
And then I did it again with Fleetwood Mac.
Wow.
They used to have Shirley Bassey, Tom Jones, in this club in like middle of Yorkshire. I did a tour with Tommy Cooper. A great experience that was.
Oh, it must have been incredible to work with Tommy.
Incredible, yeah. And then I did Paul Daniels. I supported him for a season. I did the Palladium with him.
Did you?
Yeah. That was a funny story, My father was a steward of a Catholic club in Liverpool. And when I was on the Palladium, I said to him, "Right, Mum and Dad, I'm going to book you in a hotel and I'm working at the London Palladium."
Wow.
And he went, "Oh, that's fabulous, son. What date is it?" So I said, "It's the 18th of June." He said, "Oh, I can't come, sorry." He said, "It's final of Open the Box."
What, their club, their local club?
Yeah.
You're joking.
That was it. No.
Really? Wow.
It's the final of Open the Box and it's 200 quid.
They used to do that in all these social clubs, didn't they? Then Open the Box was the big thing of the week. Doesn't matter what cabaret was on. Or
That and the bingo and the meat raffle.
I loved a Sunday meat raffle. I remember that when I was a kid. Only because we got
There's a
sausages.
true story about Paul McCartney because he's a big family in Liverpool. And he turned up at this social club on a Sunday afternoon. I mean, like, multi-millionaire. And he won the meat raffle and took it.
No.
And he's a veggie.
That's true. They weren't even Linda McCartney sausages. Oh, that's crazy. Wow. Well, a fry-up is a fry-up, isn't it? Doesn't matter how rich you are.
That's it. You can't beat it,
No, you can't.
The wife said to me, she's a vegetarian. She said, "We're going to start growing our own food. I'm going to get the seeds." I said, "Well, make sure you get some bacon seeds."
That's lovely.
And this lockdown,
Oh, wow.
you start to argue a bit.
Yeah.
She said to me the other day, "You're blinking too loud."
He's getting to her.
Yeah.
Oh, bless. Yeah, you've got to go with the times, haven't you? Get a book out. Are you reading books or you're writing comedy? What are you doing to
I'm
pass your
watching
time?
a bit of stuff and
Yeah.
going through all the old books, that I've had for years and years, thinking like, I haven't done that gag for years,
Yeah.
It's amazing because, as you're putting lines in, you're putting lines out, and when you hear it again, you go, that's such a good gag. Why did I throw it out?
When did I stop doing it? Yeah, because you do fill your act up and you think, I need to take something out, but you forget that you dropped it.
Like Ken Dodd, you'd say a comic, his act would change like a third, over a year.
Yeah.
And then new stuff goes in, a third, and new stuff, and by the time 3 years, it's a totally different act. And we say Ken Dodd 5 hours because he put stuff in, but he never took anything out.
That's true. That's the reason. Wow, I like that. So you had massive success, some sex. you were massive success on the Comedians, which launched you into television on 321 Blankety Blank. I used to see you on Celebrity Squares quite a lot as well, and all of those variety shows that had people on, you were there, Mick, and it's.
Well, I was very lucky with the hairstyle, especially on the Comedians. I mean, like, I was the youngest ever one,
yeah,
and I was the only bald one.
Oh,
because
okay, wow.
They all had perms.
Yeah.
They all had the black curly perms.
They did. They had big hair, didn't they?
And I was the bald one.
That's strange, isn't it? Was unique though, but I mean, it's memorable, isn't it? It's a not a gimmick, but I mean, it's a look that we all remember. And did people mention Max War at all when they talked about you, or?
Oh, in the early days, yeah.
Yeah.
In the early days, but that was a wig.
His was a wig, was it?
His was a wig, yeah.
Ah, see, you're the real thing.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
His was a wig.
Well, that's brilliant. Somebody disrespected you on a cruise ship once.
Oh, came up behind me, yeah, and cut my hair.
Oh, controversial.
Someone told me this when you weren't there, and I was devastated for you. That was a horrible story to hear. A passenger didn't like your hair.
I'd finished the show and we were having a drink at the back with a few people. There was Colin Fingers Henry. Remember Colin?
I do, yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
Right?
Colin was there and all the dancers, and this woman apparently came behind me, and I thought she wanted a photograph, and then she ran off, and one of the guys went, Mick, she's cut a big lump out your hair. And I looked on the floor, and there was a big lump out the back of my head. My head looked like a turret. At the back.
I'm glad you can laugh about it now. Wow.
Anyway, we couldn't find her. She'd gone,
Well, she's got scissors.
So you know what we're like on cruise ships. So I just let it go. I could have gone to the press and all that, but I mean, what you're going to get? It's not going to get my hair back, is it?
No.
So we just left it.
So was it quite noticeable? Was it at the back, and you just didn't?
Not really. No, it was like a big square bit out. She'd obviously got it in her hand and cut it off about 3.5 inches of it.
Blimey.
So it took a while, but
yeah. I mean, to nearly ruin someone's look like that just for a bet, or just because she didn't. That's ridiculous, isn't it?
It was. I mean, she wasn't young. I mean, there was quite a lot of old people on the ship. So
there's something about cruise passengers. They think they can tell you what they like when you're at sea because you can't go anywhere, and you think they think they have the right to tell you exactly how they feel, but they have no right to actually cut your hair or dress you differently.
But luckily, I mean, it was quite late at night because we'd done the second show, so it must have been about 12:30.
All right.
Because you go back to your cabin, get ready, don't you? And then go back and have a drink with the cast, and that was it. So there wasn't a lot of people about. So if it was earlier in the night, it would have, we could have found out who it was. But she was just off. It was like the Phantom Flamflinger.
What does she look like? She looks like Mick Miller. That's what she looks like. She's got my hair. Yeah, you should have. If you'd have known who she was the next day on deck, if she was like sunbathing, if you'd had a big razor and just shaved, made her look like you, and just shaved a big ball patch on the top, just for a bit of revenge. But you do after dinner speeches as well, don't you? How difficult are they for audiences? Because they can be tough, can't they?
The corporates and after dinners, sportsman's evenings.
Yeah.
It all depends. You've got to be on at the right time, because usually on probably with a sports speaker.
Yes.
So they'll do 45. But then if they're doing, a lot of them are charity gigs, so they've got to make the money for the charity. So
sure,
of course they do auctions. But if they do auctions, and that
goes on a bit,
45 an hour.
Yeah.
The audience have gone, because half of them go to the toilet, then they go to the bar. They haven't seen people in a while, so they're all talking. So it's too late, So you've got to be on at the right time.
It's difficult to gauge it, isn't it, with a gig like that? And if you can go on early evening, and sometimes before courses, sometimes they say you're after the main course or dessert. Sometimes I've been put on during the main course, and obviously for a visual event, it didn't work at all. It was a waste.
Well, you can't laugh and eat; it's impossible.
Or clap or eat no, and it didn't work. So yeah,
and the auction, that's the best doing the auction. In between courses.
Yeah, of course.
Or one of them silent auctions, they work.
They're better. I wish they'd do silent raffles as well.
So I've been doing, looking in the mirror and doing my act, and I heckle myself.
And how'd you get on? Who wins? It sounds like you're turning into a ventriloquist, or you've got. I saw you a lot on Des O'Connor tonight as well, which is our equivalent of the Johnny Carson show. It was really big to get that show, wasn't it, back then? And
Des liked what I did, so I did his show about 6 times, the Wednesday night one.
Brilliant.
And
really look forward to that.
He was always very, very generous guy,
Yeah.
With the timing as well,
Yeah,
he'd want to know your first gag and your last gag, and what would come in between. It didn't matter,
Okay, he'd just link you. Did you give him a couple of words, like one word, and then you talk about that gag, or?
Yeah, that's it. He'd just say Blackpool, and he'd say, where are you living now? You live in Blackpool. Bump, Have you done any shows up there? Bang, So he just. A couple of link words, and you're in. He's very generous.
Obviously, because he used to do stand-up and he used to work the theatres, and he was great at feeding comics, wasn't he? He knew the business, so it was nice to actually for you to sort of do your routines within him, his linking your act together, which is quite nice.
I mean, I did it with me, Joan Rivers, and Jimmy Cricket, the 3 of us on it.
Really, that's amazing. Yeah. Well, the talent in that on that couch.
And he always used to get them, He always got the big stars from America.
Yeah, I remember all them, like Sylvester Stallone, and he had all the big acts on.
Yeah.
Not that Stallone was an act.
He had him on, the comic.
Gary Shandling. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, he was genius.
He got him on, and I used to get them all. On.
Do you remember Stephen Wright, the American comic? Stephen Wright is very droll, and he had a not too dissimilar hair to you, but his was curly, wasn't it? And but he was.
I was asking someone about him the other week whether he's still working.
Yeah, his delivery was fantastic, and I was going to look him up the other day actually myself. Oh, he's brilliant.
Is he still working?
I'm not sure. I was going to find out myself, and I got distracted. I'll do that after we get off the call, because he's something. I mean, there's going to be lots of his stuff on YouTube, which I might look at tonight. He was brilliant. He
just used to walk along and looking at the floor.
Yeah, it must be an insecurity thing, really, or just the way he delivered it. It worked though, didn't it?
He said one gag. It made me laugh. He said, "I was in an apartment in New York, and there was this switch on the wall, and every time I walked in, I just put the switch up and down, and nothing happened. But it was a year, and I just kept flicking. Nothing ever happened. And after a year, I got a letter from a fella in Mexico and saying, 'Pack it
in.'" That's nice. It was always surreal, wasn't it? His stuff. Really. Yeah. Like yours, I guess. Yours was quite surreal. Some of your comedy.
What was the other one? He said, "I like going up to tourist information office and say, have you got any information on some tourists?"
It's quite obvious, isn't it, that comedy? But it's really nice. Nice to hear it. It's brilliant. No, when we was on a cruise ship, you showed me an episode or two of Ideal with Johnny Vegas, and I came back and I watched all of it when I got back. It was brilliant. And so did you play his dad?
Yes, yeah. It's like cult viewing for students. That Ideal, they loved it. Yeah.
Yeah, that cult stuff that doesn't come out straight away and people don't grab it, and then the second time round or another series comes out, then they go back and binge watch, like they do
Yeah.
now on Netflix. And so, and it was brilliant. I loved it, and
The writer was brilliant in that as well. Some of the stuff was incredible.
yeah, it's very funny. How many series did they do with Ideal? Do you remember? Was it
8?
Was
8.
it? It was 8. Wow.
But it was BBC 3.
Yes, that's finished, isn't it?
I'm surprised they haven't put it back. I think at the time they were thinking, the drug content, with the beard. But everyone,
Well, look at Breaking Bad. That's doing well.
Well, yeah, a bit stronger stuff.
It is, isn't it? Bit of meth. Yeah, and you're in the car share as well with Peter Kay.
Yeah, Peter phoned me up. He said, "I've got this little 5-minute spot in a cafe. Can you help me out?" So I said, "Yeah, I'll do it." So that was on again the other week.
Oh, was it?
Yeah,
Brilliant.
Yeah, it was on Friday night, 9:30 on BBC.
They repeated the other day, Last Laugh in Vegas again, didn't they?
That's
That
on
came
at the
back.
moment. Yeah,
So that's come back.
that's another thing we get nothing for. No repeat fees.
There's no repeat fees. You joking?
No, you get nothing for it. It's a
Wow.
car share.
That's changed, isn't it?
Yeah, you got nothing nowadays. So
Wow.
everyone thinks, you're all right. You're on every week.
I know, but then you had the Royal Variety performances, which we do because I haven't done it, but I mean you do the Royal Variety show because it's an accolade, nice accolade to have.
Yeah, I think it won't be long before you're on that. You're ideal for that.
Thanks. I'll take the sloth on. You've got 10 minutes. I'm sorry, I've got to do 25 because the introduction's long. Yeah. But thank you, Mick. I appreciate that. But you were called to do a Royal Variety, weren't you? And
It was Peter Kay.
in Blackpool with Peter. Was it Peter that got you on it?
It was at the Lowry, Manchester.
Oh, okay, brilliant.
And Peter got me on. They needed someone to do a 6-minute spot in between Penn and Teller and Singing in the Rain.
And
So
was it
Peter
true they
got-
weren't going to show you on the actual show, but they had to
No,
because
it was
of
supposed to be a theatre act only.
wow.
It went well, and someone else didn't do so well. So they phoned me up and they said, we're putting your spot in. So
Amazing.
I was really pleased with that. But the only thing was, I didn't do the walk down and it didn't meet the Royals.
Ah,
So that was quite sad. But you
Yeah.
never know. Might do it again.
yeah. I think you should, mate. They should do a they should do a big special really with it because there's still great acts out there, with a callback to those great acts that were on the Royal Variety show because they only really show music acts on there these days, don't they? And
Well, that's it. Everyone's selling something, aren't they? They're selling a new album or,
Yeah.
that's it. Or they're going in the West End. I don't think, our side of the business run it now. It used to be Laurie Mansfield used to run it.
yeah, it used to be.
But I don't think Laurie does it now. He's chairman, but I think it's like people that do live at the Apollo sort all the comics out.
Oh, okay, I think they go and find them in Edinburgh Festival, don't they? Have you done Edinburgh?
Yes, I went up. I did it a couple of years ago. Yeah, me and Jimmy Cricket did a couple of days, which was very good.
Ah, you must have enjoyed it. It must have been because
Yeah,
they love.
man, we had sellouts. Yeah.
Brilliant. I went to see Jim Bowen there and Roy Walker in the same year. I think it's 2009, and they stormed it. They packed out. So
Yeah.
you're one of those comedians that can go to Edinburgh Festival. You can go on a cruise ship. You can do a comedy club. You can do a corporate or a golf club gig. That takes a lot of experience, doesn't it, to do all of those different varieties?
Yeah, you've got to know.
You got to know your audience.
Know your audience, and know how far you can go. We know on the cruise ships, it's ultra clean. Corporate, you can let it go a bit. I don't do weddings anymore. Don't like weddings.
No.
No, it's always no. They're not worth it. Weddings.
I agree with you because I've done a few weddings, and because you're not part of the family group, you're the only one there they don't really know, apart from the band, but everyone dances to the band. But being a comedy act is not right for a wedding, is it? I've never felt comfortable doing weddings, actually.
No, and there's always trouble as well, because it's free booze. And...
What you mean with the bridesmaids?
No, not that. It's just people, so rude.
Yeah, it's not right. They're there to get drunk, aren't they?
They'll just leave it and walk right in front of you to go to the toilet, instead of walking down the side, and
Yeah,
So,
no
you
discipline.
ever go at them and then they start coming and it's all, it's the bride's best day and all that. So I always say, don't have a comic at a wedding.
You got to go where you enjoy working at the end of the day, haven't you? And it's
I still love it. I still do clubs, working men's clubs. I do a conservative club in Liverpool that I've been doing, would you believe, for 35 years.
Wow. That's
And
nice.
they
You've
still
still got
do
a
it.
loyal audience there.
Oh, they're incredible. Yeah, but the club has gone with the times as well, you know.
Yeah.
You know, the sound's good, dressing room's nice, the staging's good, you know.
I miss that, Mick. Because I just started in the business at the wrong time. I think everything was going down, but I got to do a few of the clubs, and I did do Lakeside a couple of times. But some of the social clubs were brilliant. I had great nights with the Baron Knights and Greg Rogers. I worked with some good comics as well. But but it died out, you know, and I never got to do it.
Yeah, it's a conservative club. And then I do one in Manchester. I've done this one for 20 years. It's Bernard Manning. I used to be with the same manager as Bernard Manning many years ago. And Roy Speak, he's no longer with us, bless him. He was like a member of this club. So he used to get Bernard to do it one night. One Sunday afternoon near Christmas.
Yeah.
And it made the club a lot of money, you know, because they'd charge a £5 and they'd get like 300 people in. So
Wow.
it made them a lot of money, and they got the bar and everything. So unfortunately, as we know, Bernard died, and they phoned me up and said, "Mick, will you do it?" So I still do it, and it's the first Sunday in December, and I go on at 2:00, and it's absolutely heaving, and I do an hour, really enjoy it, and I've been doing that for, I'd say, 20 years now.
Wow.
Yeah, Bernard did it one Sunday, I did it the other Sunday. And then, of course, Bernard went, so I just, it's just me now, just do the one.
Just carried on doing it. That's nice, that. It's nice to have a venue you enjoy going back to. Have you done the Green Room in Liverpool for Ricky?
Yeah, I've done that. Oh, done that many times, yeah.
I've done about 3 for him, and I love Ricky. He really makes you part of the family, didn't he, when you're working with him?
Yeah,
and they're a great room. They want to be laughing, don't they? They want to be
He's gone
there.
now, though. He's not there now, Ricky.
Oh, is it gone?
It's still there, but another guy's got it.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
But it's mainly tribute acts, on a Friday and a Saturday.
Yeah.
Comedy goes on Sunday afternoon, basically.
Okay. It was a brilliant room to work. Really nice.
Yeah. It's a long way to come for you, though, as well, isn't it?
It was, yeah. I did it because it was Ricky. Yeah, you do. You travel when it's. The last thing I done for Ricky was, I think you were there. I think it was Pontins. We done a comedy weekend, and Chrissy Rock was Prastatin. Yeah,
that's it.
Chrissy Rock was on. I was on just after Phil Walker. Were you on that? You were on that, weren't you?
Yeah, I was on a different night, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I just missed you, but I knew you were going to be there that weekend. It was that they were there just for comedy as well, and I kind of went a little bit naughty actually, because you had to, I think, with that crowd, you had to let yourself go a bit. But thankfully they loved me, and I was a little bit worried following Chrissy Rock, because we were all supposed to do 45 minutes. I was on after her, and she done an hour and 15, and I'm like, oh wow, I should be supporting her at least. But I went on and done my puppet show. But I did do my 45, and they were brilliant. They just, the whole weekend, that's what they booked for, wasn't it? Was for the comedy. Sad, isn't it? It's the venues that packed out, and what really was the British holidays. It's what it was all about, wasn't it? All these holiday parks and.
I do the rock and roll weekends, Butlins.
Yeah.
The 80s
Brilliant.
and 90s.
That's
so
nice.
I'm just, I've got a few of them at the end of the year, so I'm just hoping it's all back to normal then.
Yeah, I'm hoping by October we're starting to see a bit more reality. So it means we've got a few more months off. What will you be doing in that time, Mick, just before you go back? Just looking through your books?
Well, I've got a caravan in the lakes right on Windermere. So
Oh,
I'll be going
nice.
up there this weekend.
Lovely.
So I haven't been there this year because obviously we haven't been able to, but
Yeah.
I'll get up there and take the dogs, and we'll just sit by the lake for
Lovely.
a couple of weeks.
Oh, enjoy that, mate. You deserve it.
Yeah.
You deserve this
Yeah.
break. Just think of it as a break, eh? And get back and do what you do. I really respect you as an act and love you as an act, and it's thanks so much. I'm honoured to always work with you, Mick.
Thank you, Steve.
It's great to see you.
Yeah. Look forward to working with you again soon.
At the end of this podcast, I'm now going to use a quote from Max Wall, which is a nice connection to Mick Miller today. So this is not my words, this is Max Wall's words. Show business is like sex. When it's wonderful, it's wonderful. But when it isn't very good, it's still all right. Thanks, Max. Thanks again to my special guest this week, Mr. Mick Miller. Produced, written and hosted by Steve Hewlett, with vocals from Rich T, Nina, Lola and Larissa Hewlett, and The Cuckoo was our own as well. All our music is produced by Kevin Dean. Eyes and Teeth. Tune in to the next edition of Eyes and Teeth when I speak to the one and only Mr. Jimmy Tamley. I would not be here if it wasn't for him. Jimmy Tamley, ventriloquist, very good friend of mine. See you next time.